I'm saying hello today on September 28th, 2010 from beautiful North Adams, Massachusetts, and I'm here with Nancy Fitzpatrick, who is a very successful local entrepreneur, historical preservationist, and arts fan overall. And Nancy has taken a little bit of her time to actually tell me about her city and some of the projects that she is involved in. Nancy, tell me, what are we looking at on the left side here?
Well, that may just look like a pile of bricks with a few windows to you, but it's actually the Massachusetts Museum of Contemporary Art, located in the former Sprague Electric Factory and Arnold Printworks factory from the 20th and the 1800s and 1900s. The vast part of this building is occupied by MassMOCA. The rest of it has been developed for commercial space, where there's some lawyers, and there's a publishing company, and there's a visual arts company that does kind of digital stuff for movies, and all kinds of interesting things going on in there. There are a couple of restaurants. And that's where our Porches story begins, because on this side is the Porches Inn, which is one of the housing complexes that was home to, I'm sure, over the generations, hundreds of workers and their families. Shortly after the museum opened, I was standing up in one of those windows down there with Joe Thompson, the director of the museum, and I looked out at these buildings that were extremely dilapidated, and but yet had lots of, you can see how much architectural detail they have, and wonderful slate roofs, and you know, they had a lot of character. And I said to Joe, you know, those buildings would make a good inn.
Yes.
And Joe looked at me kind of quizzically, and he said, but don't you think they're too close to the road? And I said, well, you know, the Red Lion Inn, which is my other property down about 30 miles from here, has been right on the road for 200 years and more, and we've done just fine. And he said, well, you know, I have somebody that I want you to talk to. And he introduced me to the man who became my partner in this project, who wanted to fix these buildings up because he thought they were a terrible eyesore and that they discredited our wonderful new art museum. So after that conversation with Joe, it wasn't 2 years before we opened Porches.
Really? It took you 2 years? That's actually not that much.
Well, we met in January. We met in, I think, December or January. We started work in June or July, and we opened in the next year.
Wow, that's
So it was
awesome.
actually less than 2 years.
Now, I would imagine you had to do a lot of work bringing them up to par.
Oh, completely. They were not quite gutted, but they were, you know, the total infrastructure was
heating, plumbing, electrical,
redone. Exactly.
I can imagine.
And you know, just about everything. I mean, there were 4. If you look at these buildings, there were 4 apartments in each building, 2 on the downstairs, 2 downstairs, and 2 upstairs. And you know, so we had to completely reconfigure them, saving as much as we could. And actually, what's really interesting is the part that's brand new, well, I shouldn't say brand new, 10 years now, are the porches.
I was going to ask you, So the porches were added.
Yeah, with the exception of, you see the little porch up there?
In the back.
Yeah, that was a typical feature of apartments in this kind of housing. You can picture the clothesline, you know, going from one building to another.
Exactly. So, but did you also sort of connect the buildings so there's roof, glass roofs?
We did. We connected. No, well, I'll tell you, if you go in, each of the buildings had a light well, and perhaps we could see that better from a different location.
Exactly.
But you know, what really inspired me about these buildings was thinking about the generations of people who lived here, people from the mid 1800s right through to 1998 or something like that. And when you think about the lifestyles and the changes that occurred and the kind of layers of living that went into these houses, that's what really inspired me and what I wanted to preserve while we were redoing them.
It's fascinating what you've done here, but one question I gotta ask you. All these houses have different colors.
Yes.
From kind of a greenish teal, bluish teal to a gray olivey color, or warm orange, beige, and then green, and then reddish. How did you come up with those colors?
Well, actually, our architects worked very hard on coming up with those colors, and we actually did it. We wanted to be able to identify to the guests which building they were in.
Oh.
So, you're in the red building, or the green building, or the yellow building, or the gray building, or the blue building. They were, we did some research on Victorian era colors.
Yes.
And took it from there.
Wonderful.
And you'll notice they all have the same color trim.
They do.
So
yes.
that brings
it really ties it together very nicely. So how many buildings altogether?
Altogether, as far as guest buildings,
yes,
we have 6 buildings.
Is that
the pink one,
building over there?
Yes,
part of it?
that has 4 rooms.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, very good. Wonderful. Now, if anybody wants to look this property up on the internet, is there a website?
We do have a website, porches.com.
Porches.com,
Yeah.
Very simple. Thank you so much, Nancy, and I'm already curious about heading inside and seeing some of the facilities.
Let's go.
Thank you.